Hello all newcomers and welcome back fellow Eternians. As always, my name is Emperor AP and today we are going to be talking about the future of micronationalism and talking to some micronationalists about that. So I am jumping in the voice chat here and we are getting started with this stream. I hope everybody's doing well. First things first, I am going to jump on our YouTube page so I can copy the link and throw it in the Discord for everybody. If you guys have not checked out our Discord yet, you most definitely should, because we are doing a lot of cool stuff out there. But in the meantime, we are going to be doing some Minecraft hanging out, playing some Minecraft, and getting into micronational stuff. So yeah, I hope everybody has been doing well so far. I know for myself, this week has been particularly busy because I've been doing a lot with classwork. School starting back for me, taking summer classes. It just being sort of an interesting, period for me. Also, thank you everybody for 738 subscribers. I actually need to fix our bar over there, our little thing, to say. Over there, yeah, to say 738 because we are at 738 subscribers. Let me go ahead and make sure I can jump in here. Having a lot of weird trouble. Okay, let me make sure I can grab the link to the stream for everybody, throw it in, and we will be getting started. And I'm out of there, as they call it. Let me see, go to Discord. Sorry for the hang up here, guys. Ba-doop, ba-doop. I'm streaming. I didn't even ask. Normally in our Discord, I ask whether people would join a stream or like would want me to stream at a particular time so that I can engage when the audience is more active, when the community is more active. But as of late, there have been a couple times where I just haven't, or I've just thrown it in. Hey, Emperor Robert said, would join, but I'm coding. I get you. Good luck with everything. Good luck with class if you have it, or with whatever cool project you're working on. Evan, what's going on? Evan Guilford, Gleeford, excuse me. Evan Gleeford is in our chat. He has been in our chat for quite a while now, for quite a few streams, and I hope you are doing well, Evan. I am also, let me make sure. Yep, I'm also connected to our voice chat if anybody wants to hang out with me. President Chloe said she's sick. I hope you're doing well, President Chloe. That is really rough. I'm going to just go ahead and message her. President Chloe, I hope you feel better soon. Hey, Republic of Tudoleth, what's going on? It's good to see you. Republic of Tudoleth, talking about micronationalism, seeing your name brought it up. I want to discuss how you feel about micronational organizations, and specifically what the future of micronationalism is going to look like once more and more micronations find the ability to gain stable economies. I think that's ultimately the big barrier for micronationalism, and I've talked about it a little bit on the channel, but I should probably make an official video or two talking about it. But the whole idea is that I think, once we have more micronations that have fully developed economies and have really given a lot of effort and a lot of backing into their different enterprises, that they are able to start working together as a micronational community on a larger scale. We've seen that in communication jump up a lot in the micronational community recently, but I'm looking, I think, even further into an economic future where micronations across the world are not only not only conversing with each other, not only having some interaction if possible, but really making sincere attempts through these developed economies that they have to do large joint projects, to potentially create organizations that have specific goals and interests in mind, and doing things like that. Um, I'm curious to know whether you guys think how you think that might look, and do you think it's something that is feasible? Do you think it's something that you expect to see within your lifetime? Okay. Our Serbian friend is here. Monarchy of Cervalia. They said, "Hey, what's up, Monarchy of Cervalia here? It's good to see you, Cervalia. We are hanging out right now, um, playing some Minecraft and talking about micronations. What's going on, KTM? It's good to see you. We got KTM, we got Kingdom of Cervalia, Monarchy of Cervalia. We have Evan Guilford. We got everybody joining. Evan said, surprised to see you streaming this early. I know I generally stream a bit later, but I've been having to be up early for class, so here I am. I am an early bird this time, and we will get the stream for sure. But yeah, so my larger question here, I guess, is trying to figure out what it's going to be that allows these micronations to hit that point, and what does a positive outcome for that look like? Obviously, having sincere micronational trade and larger scale project development is always good and important, but what greater purpose does that serve for those micronations? You know, how does that play out in the future for these potentially smaller groups that are gaining larger and larger economic mobility and are getting essentially a momentum behind them? I'm curious to know what that will do for what it means to be a micronationalist, and what the micronational community looks like at that point. Who, you know, what type of person may the micronational community attract that before it may not have, or vice versa, you know. Do you think it will gain some people, lose some people? What do you think are big outcomes of stuff like that? That's something I've been thinking about for a little while, and our nation's starting to do better, and actually getting really close to the 3-quarter mark for being a YouTube partner. So we are excited about that, and hopefully going to reach it very, very quickly. Once we do that, that starts our economy, and that gets us into planning for stuff like this. So that's definitely the cool thing about it. All right. I'm jumping into trying to get out of civilization.
Hey, we're just here to pop on and say hi.
Oh, hey, what's going on? How are you guys?
So, we have created a yeah.
Oh, I thought you said who. I thought you said who.
How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
That's good. Yeah, I was just talking about essentially looking at the future of micronationalism and realist micronations, and seeing what it might be like um, for a time when there are a larger number of micronations that are sincerely developing economically. What happens when they start, you know, creating more serious, potentially, organizations or joint projects?
That sounds pretty interesting. I remember hearing one thing. My friend, a friend of mine, was talking about a micronation to who was like lying about saying they had like silver and gold and stuff for their currency, and they were finally getting called out on Reddit where they had been posting, and I was just like, I said, false claims are a thorn in the side of micronationalism, and economics are definitely one of those.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Well
I see the
said.
big. Yeah, I think the two biggest things relevant to your topic. I say the two biggest things that people lie about on micronationalism are either their population or their economy. And Will Machine is here.
Hey, what's going on, Will?
Nope. I think Will
Will?
died. Oh, Connor. Oh, Connor's here.
Connor.
Hey, Connor.
What's up, guys, it's me, the cool guy from
Putin.
last stream.
And
I'm no longer a caveman. I've realized anarcho-primitivism is the worst ideology.
No, primitivism, military junta.
Oh, no.
Best.
monarchism all the way, pal.
So I'm still at an absolute complete mystery shock. Will got on for like half a second. Will is one of our citizens, or was one of our citizens, who like left. And
I think Will's been kind of been on and off on Discord
But-
recently. He's been busy with stuff.
I
But
get
the
you.
good thing is that Will is back.
You know how social distance and learning is.
No, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Like
Oh yeah, he's all fine. I've talked to him about it, and he's just like, yeah, I've just been busy with schoolwork. Schoolwork can be a pain in the side, don't you think?
absolutely.
Wait, could you give Will the citizenship role back?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't trying to take it away. I don't think I ever took it off his account.
Yeah, I think he left. I think he left by I think he might have left accidentally or something like that. I'm not sure why he left. I never asked. I actually never realized.
I get you. Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, so where were
give
you
Will
on
that
your
role.
so economic development? Yes, big thing in micronationalism, if you ask me. Like micronations who are seriously trying to develop their economies, I think are few and far between. But the ones that are definitely good good examples that I feel like other micronationalists should take example from.
No, absolutely. I agree.
Oh, by the way, did I tell you, AP, Micronations YouTube is going to do an interview on me, and he's gonna post it on the Eternian channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you house this down?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
We
excited
Yeah.
for that.
Back to Democratic Republic.
Okay.
Yeah, which kind of oofed me. I was just like, I heard new monarchy, and then they go back to republic, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. That's alright though. Whatever you feel like, I guess works best for
whatever
house
government.
system.
Yeah, whatever's best for. I mean, you were a democratic republic for a long time, so might just be the best thing for you. We got two. Connor, what's your title again in Aberland?
King.
King. So we have a king, we have a president, we have a king, and we have two emperors.
Yep.
Go.
If we had a few
Planet.
dinosaurs, this would be Jurassic Park.
There you go. There's the there you go. So a gathering of why is it called why is your stream called a gathering of nations?
Well, because like you said, hello, you just listed a whole bunch of nations and titles of leaders of nations.
Oh yeah.
And we're all gathering. We're all talking about the future of micronationalism. So I figured this would be a cool little way to do it.
Yeah. What's been going on in the chat?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Thank you for reminding me.
Have you set up your timer with Freddy Fazbear?
Yeah.
Come on.
I have not done it, but I need to. Okay. So, KTM said hello. Sad saw you awful. Good to see you. KTM said join mid-conversation if you're talking about micronational UN. They said that'd be good. I just think, like, eventually, like, far down the line, I'm curious as to how those things develop. So, KTM said it would be a great outcome. Micronational trading organizations. That's awesome. Pedroka said hello. What's going on? Lucy, how you doing? KTM saying anarcho-primitivism.
Oh God. We got some anarcho-primitivists up in the chat. You know what I mean?
It's Connor. It's Connor every day.
Yeah, we got to get in the.
Oh yeah, no, that's my alt. You guys found it out.
We gotta get my fellow monarchists in the chat. We gotta get monarchist gang representing, bruh.
Yeah, and Corbin Studios. What's going on?
Republican gang represent. Republican gang represent.
There you
Corey
go.
Van
Oh God, are we
Studios,
gonna,
what's going on? How are you?
we're gonna have a Spanish. We're gonna have a Spanish civil war in the chat.
Grand Duchy of Asil said, "I might get a cannon sometime. I'll have a powerful nation. But be
Oh,
careful.
God.
Don't shoot your cannon anywhere because you can't slow
shoot
them
your
down.
cannon.
Is the issue?
That great.
They just hit the thing. You don't.
Who was that?
I'd like to question where he's getting the cannon from.
That's a great question.
Hey,
Maybe.
Charles.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
Charles.
Hey, Charles, did you get my my music clip?
Yeah, I got your music clip. I'm editing it. It's turning out great. Just waiting for like most of it to like load and stuff. So
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, not trying to be rude. I actually am saying this as a compliment. I feel like the I feel like AP's slogan should be "I appreciate it."
I do. I
I feel like that should
definitely.
be his
He does
slogan.
appreciate it.
That's
I know.
gonna be.
I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I'm just saying that he says it a lot, so I think it'd be funny.
That's
That
the
should be the motto.
Eternian. That's the
That's the
Eternian.
Eternian national motto. There you go. I
It's-
appreciate it.
It's the Eternian declaration of war. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I appreciate your existence, but now it needs to
Wait,
come
no,
to
no,
an
no.
end.
Maybe actually.
Oh,
Be,
yikes.
I don't appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it. That's when you know that's when you know Eternia is declaring war. Usually they say I appreciate it when they're declaring war. It's I don't appreciate it.
It's like we copied ours from Canada. Canada, everybody knows their declaration of war is no thanks.
No thanks.
so yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, I don't like that. I actually don't like that. So, and then the next thing you know, M1 Abrams are going over the border.
Oh hell no, bro.
I'm not sorry, Connor. Oh God. But yeah, that's a good one. Oh God.
It's R Neo the Neo
Bun-
Russian man.
Captoki.
Russia. We're just gonna call you Russia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna call you Russia.
Suka Adidas track pant. So, Mr. Adidas track pant, how's your day today?
Adidas.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you Russian guy.
Oh yeah. So I was
He's Serbian.
Oh, Serbian? That's Serbian? I thought it was
Yeah.
Russian.
He's Serbian.
So okay.
I'm so bad. Connor, I thought you were the guy with the Cyrillic.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to Cyrillic.
You need to know how to Cyrillic.
Your mom needs to know how to Cyrillic. Anyway, that's
What?
what was I gonna? I remember what I was gonna say.
So, Eternia, silly question, but do you remember that skit you did where you said, the Federation of Butthurt Babies?
He remembers.
He remembers. Let's get it.
Yeah.
We need to make that. We need to do a follow-up skit. We need a. AP. You know how you said in the video. Yeah, that's AP. You know how you said in the video, people like make the war dramatic and stuff. You need a follow-up video on the war of the Federation of Butthurt Babies against the United Allies.
We need
an update, bro. It's been years.
Aftermath.
Fair
We
enough.
need to know.
It's been
The
a.
fallout.
So it's funny. I actually I had recorded something at the time with my my then roommates. Right after that was supposed to be that, and then I thought it was dumb, so I never uploaded it. I still have it though. I still have it though.
Dude, upload
Look at
that.
download that.
I'm pretty sure I still have it. I gotta go check, and if I have it, I'll put it together and do it.
Hey, so anyone interested in like making like like how podcasts have like pictures in like the background where they're like talking? So anyone have like that for like Emperor AP? Be much appreciated.
Don't worry, I'll draw like a cool picture of him.
I love it. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, we need someone. If anyone here is a good artist, we need to like draw like
Don't worry,
dramatic
guys.
war
Yeah,
art.
we need like micronation
Oh, my
like
Kindred
country
bars.
balls.
So-
we need micronation country.
My friend Anthony actually, I think, completely just out of the blue, not knowing about micronationalism stuff, he found a Renaissance painting like thing where you essentially take a picture of yourself and it's a filter that makes it look like you're in a Renaissance painting.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that could be a way to do that.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. I'm just trying to like do like the podcast thing, just like like a background, just like I don't have a picture for it, and like I don't want to like put like a flag, like this like like no effort into
Done.
it. So
Charles, bro,
You could
Charles,
have
if you were
a.
the first,
Oh, I'm sorry.
if you made a podcast, I was just gonna say, Charles, if you have a podcast, I'd so listen to that.
It'd be dope for sure. I'm
That'd be
excited
dope for
for
sure,
it.
bro.
I'm planning on doing that, but for right now, I'm just trying to like become a citizen on like AP right now. Like
Yeah.
the flag thing, I'm starting on that. Like the editing, I mean, the editing could use some work, but it's relatively decent, and like it's going great
Yeah.
now. So.
Well,
The main job I
especially
could see. Oh,
I was
yeah,
just
you
gonna
keep going.
say, especially it's interesting because just the thing that you're doing, King Charles, is cool because it doesn't. It's something that we don't have, like we talked about, having just all that footage, at least cut together into sizable clips, is a lot more manageable for people. So I think regardless of how you did it, it'll be great. But I know you and putting time into it. I think it's gonna turn out really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The what was I gonna say? But I feel like the only job I could really be doing in Eternia would be an official historian because I'm good with history. I'm not good with like manual labor or editing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like that'd be my best job as like the Emperor's official historian.
Well, so that would be cool if you could like do like a content thing for it. Absolutely, I think that'd be
We
dope.
need like micronations for like country balls. We need something like that too.
Yeah, some
animated.
people have actually made some country ball characters of certain micronations like Malasia and Sealand. It's actually pretty funny.
Absolutely.
all fun.
Seeing that,
If they can like
someone
make
needs to
me
make
like
one for Eternia.
yeah, we need to like make one for like each and like every one of us. Go like, hey,
We need
it's
a
like
crew picture. We need to make country balls for all the
micronation. Oh, that would be
micronations.
no. That could be a community. That could be a giant community idea.
Oh,
It's like we
that'd
can
be
start.
really cool. Yeah, everyone adds their own
Someone make a
micronation to
stop.
one.
We have like a template for like each one with different expressions.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Actually, I actually really like that idea.
Yeah, same here.
We need to have like we'll have like Eternia, the Dominion of Steel and Iron,
We have like
Arthuria, Malasia, Sealand, all the micronations, and they're just all fine. There's like one giant picture of them all just vibing.
Yeah.
it's like a Emperor AP. It's like the largest one. Like we should have like a like a random map. We should have like a random map, like depending on like the size of like the the nation.
Yeah, that definitely should be a that should definitely for sure be a thing. We should really do that. I actually gotta go. I might be late. I might be back later.
Ooh. All right. Good luck with what you have to do. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night, bro. See ya.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I have to go to like this one other thing I have to go to. Just like a tiny. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'll be right back.
All right. See you,
It's like,
dude.
yeah. All right, see ya.
But yeah, I think that's super cool. Especially seeing everybody like come up with stuff, the ideas for the community. I like it. It's dope.
Right now, I'm actually drawing an Eternia country ball.
Oh, nice. The thing that's difficult is the little detail like on the symbol for me.
Yeah.
Freehand drawing my own symbol is I'm not good at it. Oh man.
Ooh, I like this.
You like it?
I made it.
Oh, dope. Can you send a picture?
Yeah, I just sent it in general.
Oh, nice. Let's check it out. Hey, I like it. Hey, hold up. I gotta give it the little official seal.
Seal of
Hey,
approval.
awesome.
Heck yeah.
Nice. That's super cool, dude.
Well, yeah, I was gonna. So I sent in chat before the stream this little concept I had. It's not really related to micronationalism, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, was it the writing idea?
Like Knights of Saint Lazarus, but post-apocalypse.
Yes, I read that. That was cool. I liked it. My curiosity though. So are they specifically like their whole thing is they're just not able to get the disease? And if that's the case, oh, I'm sorry.
Pardon?
If they're not, if it's just that they're not able to get the disease, are they then like doctors trying to save people, or are they just like?
No, because they can still give it to other people, but well they can get it, but they're not asymptomatic. Like I don't know, like a zombie plague or something. And
So
so they
are
have
they
to isolate
zombies?
themselves. Like so they get it, but then it doesn't convert them or kill them or whatever. I don't know. It was just a concept. It was like very bare bones concept.
No, I like it. I'm curious. Like, I'm
So
curious to know like the backstory. Would they then be like, we have to use our own body to like synthesize a cure, and then we have to like inject people with the cure to try and like,
yes, something like that because they they're because they have it so they can't interact with other people in fear of giving it to them.
yeah,
But they don't have symptoms, so they're like able to fight back against what the I don't know zombies or whatever.
okay,
And I
I
don't know.
like it.
I think it was a cool concept. I got it because I was like researching like I don't know holy orders because it's an interesting thing. It's just
Nice,
something I do from time to time. Go on benders, just researching random things.
nice. So what got you on the topic of holy orders?
Well, I was like, you know, I don't know enough about holy orders, so I'm just gonna Google it.
Fair enough.
And that's just how it starts every time. I'm
Is
like,
there? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just like, I don't know enough about XYZ topic, so I'm just gonna spend all of today learning about it.
Yeah. What I'd be curious about, do you is it like things that specifically are of interest to you, or is it just like a
Yeah,
random thing? Like you'll be like, I
it's
don't
like
know enough about pediatrics.
it's things that I don't know about, but I want to know about. Like I don't know about the economy of Bolivia, but it's not something that I particularly want to know about because that sounds really boring. But a holy order from the medieval era about with that has a holy order from the medieval era consisting entirely of people afflicted with a disease sounds really cool, and like that's a true thing that happened.
Agreed. That is super cool. Now, did they all die?
Well, leprosy, I don't think it kills you. It's just like a physical deformation, but I think their order was disestablished at some point.
Dang.
Yeah. But I mean, not all holy orders are disestablished. Like the Hospitallers and the Teutonic Knights are still around.
Fair enough.
The Templars were all killed because that one prince guy. Damn French. Yeah. But
I was just trying to. I guess I was trying to think about when you look things up like that. Whenever you're thinking about whatever your next topic is, the uh, holy orders. Um,
mm,
is it something that's then spurred from something? Like, is this just like a continuous like, and then that led me to that, led me to that, led me to that?
kinda like I'll be satisfied with the amount of knowledge I have on a subject. I'm like, okay, that's good for day. And then like the day after, I'll see something. Like it's like drawn from like I'll be consuming content or whatever.
Mhm.
and media, and I'll see something. I'm like, that looks interesting. I don't know about that, and then I'll want to know about that.
Do you feel like you do that ever in a pointed way, like where you go, I just for my own interest in life for whatever reason, like I want to know more about this topic because it may be a career I want to go into or whatever, and then you like start really focusing down on that topic and learning like having those same curiosities come up, but specifically around that topic.
I mean, to an extent, yeah. I mean, I like the career I want to get into was actually spurred from one of the research bouts I went on,
Yeah,
which was like, I don't know enough about modern politics, and now I want to be a politician of sorts.
nice,
Like, yeah,
absolutely,
because I view micronationalism as something I can do to ride out my retirement years.
absolutely.
I'll have all of my pension from being a politician for X amount of years, and then I'll buy a field and build a commune in the middle of buttfuck nowhere,
Fair enough.
and I'll die and let my kid inherit it.
Interesting. Do you feel like, I don't know, do you feel like there's a place where you'll go, I don't know. Do you think you'll ever regret not spending more time in one or the other? Like if you get into your political career and you decide like, wow, I really love this, and you see like, wow, these communities really need me, you may not want to stop that until like you die. But at the same time, um,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get to the point where I'm so old and so out of touch that I probably become a laughingstock. Joe Biden, what?
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't want to become Joe Biden. I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, it's like I don't know that anyone's like just crossing their fingers. Like let it be Joe Biden. Let me age into Joe Biden.
Man, I wish I was Joe Biden, a senile presidential candidate who has hallucinated conversations with Margaret Thatcher.
He said, Margaret, put down the damn oatmeal iron. It was some lady named Margaret. He wasn't sure exactly, but oh no! I fell.
You know, as much as American politics is interesting and all, I hate how it consumes everything. Like, I'll be going around on unrelated media, like I don't know, Reddit or whatever, trying to laugh at some dank memes. When all of a sudden I'll just see X candidate is and X party is worse than Y party. Republicans are big doo-doo heads. And I'm like, why? I just want to laugh at some memes. I don't care about American politics. Why is it everywhere?
Because they care about you. Not really, but they care about like you voting.
But I don't vote. I can't vote.
Right.
I'm Canadian.
Right. But they care about you voting. Get out there.
They want me to move to America and vote.
They want you to vote for our politicians in your country.
I mean, Ted Cruz was born in Canada, so.
All of a sudden, Papua New Guinea is run by Sarah Palin. It's like we just really like the ads.
No. It's run by Donald Trump.
It's just an impersonator from Vegas.
No, it's just Donald Trump, but he's wearing those freaking stupid glasses that give you the big nose and the mustache.
He's like, this is gonna be so cool. Second time.
They'll never know.
They'll
I'm
never
actually
know.
the president of Papua New Guinea and America.
He just all of a sudden starts making really weird like foreign policy decisions. Like, I think we should invest primarily in mangoes. It's like, that's not an export of Papua New Guinea. And then he's like, well, help me research Papua New Guinea. I can't
Mr.
Google
Trump,
that.
why are you so suddenly interested in Papua New Guinea politics? Does this have anything to do with the recently elected official, Donald Trump? No, it does not. Donald Trump is a great man. I'm sure he has a long, he's well endowed. No trouble with women. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. He is a fine politician, but my interest with Papua New Guinea has nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Mr. Trump, what do you have to say about the allegations that you are in fact Donald Trump? The allegations are ridiculous. I'm in no way associated with Donald Trump. Might I add, though, he's a handsome individual.
The reporter goes, excuse me, Mr. President, I heard a rumor that Donald Trump is sleeping with your wife. And then he goes, I'll kill that son of a bitch. Nuke him. And then it just, planes fly over the White House. And he goes, oh, fuck. It's what happens. It's what happens when he goofs himself. There have been multiple scenarios where he's nearly done exactly that. But with like smaller things, like just being an asshole to people.
You know, with all this talk of the, what's it called, the Will Machine and Vincent, it reminded me about my Minecraft server,
Yes,
and I wanted to give you some updates on it if you wouldn't mind.
sure.
So we built a bunch of shit, and it's like the landscape is completely unrecognizable. But also, in sad news, Will quit.
Oh,
Yeah, we had like a tiny argument because he wanted to declare war on me, but I'm like, we don't have any rules for it, and I'm like doing school,
yeah,
and so he quit,
gotcha.
and it's sad. So now it's just me and Vincent and like people we recorded from recruited from MicroWiki. Yeah,
So,
I'm still very impressed with that micro ball.
absolutely, I liked it. No, but I'm sorry that happened. I know him leaving the our Discord as well was just fairly sudden. I wonder if they were related.
Maybe.
Well,
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's not an isolated incident. He had a lot of fights over like weird things too. Like,
but like, I don't know. I want to hear the thing, but I don't feel like it's cool to do it like one-sided. You know what I mean?
yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
but I like I don't hate him or anything. Like,
Yeah.
like he, but it's like I don't know, he got mad a lot.
Hmm.
And it's kind of weird, cause like.
But like, I just feel like weird doing it if like talking about that if he's not here to like say his own stuff back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he's the other side
Yeah,
of the
no,
argument.
I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, I do hope he's doing well with whatever he's up to. Um, hmm. Oh, but Connor, I did have a
Mm-hmm.
question for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you started your nation, what was the thing that I guess incited that for you? I know you said you've been interested in like politics and stuff, and you do your research stuff. But I guess where was the moment where you said like, oh, I just want to do that myself?
I wanted to start my micronation because I can't remember exactly what the catalyst was, but I originally started my micronation back in 2019,
Mhm.
quit, and then just recently I started doing it again. I guess because I kind of rediscovered it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this again. This time has been much more successful than last time
Absolutely.
because last time I don't know, I was younger and wasn't doing really the right things, and I have much more of a goal this time. To buy a field in the middle of fucking nowhere, like a commune.
When you're 80.
Yeah, of course. And that's a lot more. Because like the last one was, I don't know. I did it for like a month and got bored.
um, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Do you feel like your political career and micronationalism have to be a separate thing?
I mean, I think so. I mean, obviously, if I become like a successful prime ministerial candidate, then after I retire, people are definitely going to be interested. But when I am a politician, it definitely needs to be separated. Otherwise, people will have to question my interests and all that. Like, if I am really uh, think acting for the good of the people or just my own micronation or whatever. But I think if an ex-politician is doing it, would definitely give me a bit of legitimacy or whatever.
Agreed. But you're also like currently doing it, right?
Well, I'm laying the foundations. Um, I just wanted to make like contacts and whatever prior, and then when I come back to it, and whenever I come back to it,
Do you
that's when
think?
I'll
Oh, I'm
fully
sorry.
commit. Like I
Fair
was
enough.
just that's when I fully commit.
Um, I guess I'm interested. Do you think your political rivals could ever bring that up against you? Just the fact that you are a micronationalist and say, well, uh, there's a bias to supporting another country above our own.
Yeah, and that's what I was bringing up about definitely putting it on a big hold when I start getting serious about the political career. Like, I'm laying the foundations now, and I'm, building the whatever.
But I guess what I'm asking is, could a politician not say, well, that's what he's basing his policy decisions on? Could they not say he started before now and is planning to continue to do it after he leaves office? What's to say his policies don't reflect or are biased by his own interests in micronationalism?
I suppose, but I mean, that's the risk I'm taking, I guess. But
I just,
generally, they're
I'm sorry.
being this is Canadian politics, not as much. There's not as much like slander, I'd say, as in American politics. Like we we don't dig through Justin Trudeau's trash bin to find dirt on him. But if it does come up, it comes up. But seriously, the guy did blackface and then immediately won the next election. Like, if a political candidate started drawing things when he was 14, and when he's 80 he wants to build a commune, that isn't really as much of a big deal in Canada as it is in America.
Fair enough.
It's all about like the culture of the country.
Mhm.
Because if I was American, I would definitely be a lot more worried. But being I am Canadian, and Canadian politics much more fun, but also a lot more tame in terms of campaigns. Like the worst campaign I ever saw was against Jason Kenney, the equivalent to a governor in the States. It's called a premier.
Mhm.
It's basically the same thing as a governor. So I'm just going to use American terms just to limit the confusion.
Sure.
But so the governor of Alberta, which is a state of Canada, when he was running for office, there was a campaign against him calling him a liar.
Mhm.
And that was about it. They didn't like dig up his Twitter history or anything. They just said, well, I mean, he's saying these things, but he doesn't like, or they take his beliefs and just like hyperbolize them, not really actively try to find dirt on him. And so if I were to ever run for governor, quote unquote, it would definitely, I'd assume, be a similar thing, unless there are even more Americanisms in Canadian politics, and it isn't like that. But yeah.
Fair enough. I definitely wish you well in it.
So you've mentioned you're getting a degree in, what is it, like physics?
Yes, sir.
What career are you trying to get using that degree?
I'm going to be an applied physicist, so someone who researches physics, does experiments to find new proofs for theoretical physical laws. I am going to go from my bachelor's now into a graduate program where you I will either be able to go for my master's degree or directly into my PhD.
That's interesting. And KTM had an interesting anecdote in the chat.
Absolutely.
He said, "I'd say the blackface Trudeau. He spelt it the most. He spelt a French name Italian somehow. I don't even know how he did that.
Wait, let me...
He like true, the word true, and then
Yeah,
dough.
I see it. I see it.
Wasn't very controversial because Canada never had it. That's not true. As a Canadian, it was very controversial. The thing is, okay, this is gonna be very biased because, Western alienation, all that. The Eastern provinces always alienate the Western provinces because I guess they find us less essential, even though we provide like most agriculture and oil for the entire country. But it's mostly because the Eastern provinces were very apologetic towards him because he not because we didn't have a civil war. It's mostly because the culture, like Canada, we like we're very apologetic in general. See the whole joke about Canadians saying, "Oh, sorry, eh?" You know, like that's a stereotype. We're a very apologetic cultured people,
Yeah.
and we're very forgiving. And even if we did have a civil war over civil rights, I still say that argument is invalid, because even though we didn't have that civil war, they replaced on the $5 bill.
Mhm.
We had a picture previously. I think it was the $5 bill. It was either $10 bill. I think it was either 10 or 5. $10 bill. Sorry. Previously, the $10 bill had a picture of it had a picture of John A. Macdonald,
Mhm.
the first Prime Minister of Canada. But just recently, I think just recently, like a year ago, they changed the bill and replaced him with I can't remember her name right now. Ooh, that's really bad, because I always call her worse Rosa Parks, because she's basically like Rosa Parks, except Canadian, and she didn't do as much. I can't remember. But they replaced Johnny McDonald with her. So obviously, we do have respect for African Americans, and a lot of the fallout of the United States Civil War had to do with Canada, because Canadian troops, not Canadian troops, but Canada worked as like a proxy for Britain to support the CSA, and during the war, escaped slaves fled to Canada due to our heavily lax slavery. Like we had already abolished slavery in like the 18th century, and the Civil War happened in the 19th century. But so like we learn all about African American like history and how it relates to Canada, and we are very understanding. But it's just due to our forgiving nature in our culture. That's why Justin Trudeau was able to get away with doing blackface. And it's interesting.
Absolutely.
But I do have a problem with the bill, the $10 bill, the new one.
Yes.
Not because of who's displayed on it, because I know a lot of people have a problem with that, but I don't really care. Maybe a bit more of a prominent figure. She's just some random lady, but well, I'd say that's a bit disrespectful. But it's mostly because the bill is now vertical, and that really pisses me off, because it's wrong. Like you look at all of our bills, right? All of them are horizontal and look normal, and then suddenly there's just one bill that's vertical, and it makes no sense.
It may be specifically to mark it as different, to hold it out, to make it stand out.
I suppose.
Yeah.
It's just,
especially if it like commemorates, I don't know, something different.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed the John A. Macdonald one, because there are much less like important people on the other bills.
Mm.
Like John A. Macdonald was our first prime minister, man. That's like taking a bill with George Washington on it and changing it to Rosa Parks.
Was there some reason in particular it was chosen to be Johnny McDonald? Like, do you think?
Well, it was John A. Macdonald on the $10 bill.
Right, but did he have a particular role in?
No, because the thing is, that lady, I'm gonna Google her name. Because on $10 bill, Viola Desmond.
Mm.
The thing is, Viola Desmond existed long after John A. Macdonald died. That happened, I think, during the American Civil Rights Movement, or shortly before.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely in the 20th century. Because the thing is, what happened was she went and went to a movie theater, and she sat in a different seat
Mhm.
than where most Africans were meant to sit.
Mm.
And so the courts charged her for some unrelated case. Anyway, it was because she was black, right? And like, thing is, John A. Macdonald existed in the 1860s, so
This is what I'm saying. Was Johnny McDonald, was he a slave owner, for example?
no way, because we abolished slavery in the 1700s, like before John A. Macdonald was born.
Gotcha.
America was one of the last places in the Western world to abolish slavery.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one sec.
Yeah.
KTM made another comment.
Hey.
What I meant by the Civil War comment is that even after the Civil War, the colored didn't have many rights, even though they were free and they had to fight for many years, etc. Well, still, we also had a similar thing, because lots of escaped slaves came to Canada, and hell, there was even a KKK, a section of the KKK in Canada, in Saskatchewan specifically. And so we had our own civil rights movement and all that. Because the KKK, the Canadian KKK, the CKKK, it's a lot. The Canadian KKK, it forced these ex-slaves to build their own towns because they didn't want them moving into white communities. And so, yeah, like I said, here in Canada, we had our own struggle. Well, Africans did. I'm white, so. But the Africans had their own unique Canadian struggle, separate from the American civil rights movement. And so, implying that because we didn't have a thing like the American Civil War, so we didn't have, we don't have the same respect for African Americans is inherently false. KTM. It's just because we're sorry.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you think, I guess, why do you think that might have gone over differently in other countries, as opposed to Canada specifically? I know you said apologetics, but like...
Justin Trudeau, if, for example, Donald Trump had worn blackface?
Well, no, I mean, even if it was just Justin Trudeau had worn blackface, in the U.S., or if just, I don't want to say, and now it's a different politician, because if it's a different politician, then you're like, well, yeah, because nobody likes Donald Trump. So
I understand.
yeah.
So if Justin Trudeau was an American politician, I definitely do think he would be torn to shreds, because Americans are a lot more inherently critical of their president.
Mhm.
And I think this is something because they're not their president, sorry, specifically, they're politicians.
Right.
And I think this is due in part to how their government operates differently.
Mhm.
For example, they don't have a question period.
Right.
And this is something I advocate for. I love question period. Lots of people think it's a waste of money, but I love question period because it's a period in time to hold the leading party in accountable for their actions, even when they're not during the election cycle. Because if you really think about it, the only real time that politicians slander other politicians is during the election cycle so they can get more votes, right?
Well, in the U.S., I disagree. I think
I am
politicians are
talking specifically
constantly.
with the U.S.
Well,
But
in the U.S., they constantly slander each other. Like Congress, our whole Congress is people going like, "May I please have the floor?" Yeah, your bill is like messing up lives, and yeah, and the
well,
Republicans here won't. You know, that's the whole thing they do.
specifically, I'm speaking of like, because during question period, I'll provide an example of like a question that would be asked.
Yeah.
So, say for example, Justin Trudeau went to India and dressed up in monk's clothes,
Right.
because that's the then Conservative Party, which is the opposition, would try to hold Justin Trudeau accountable for embarrassing Canada by wearing clothes he didn't earn, as if they were, regular street clothes. And Americans don't have that same thing. Like all of their accountability holding is extra. What's the word? It's like outside of government, and so people. It's not really as official, but in this during question period, Canadian question period specifically, because I know this for a fact. A lot of like Britain and Australia, they have a lot tamer question periods than Canada. Canada uses their question period more effectively than the other nations, but due to the fact that the Americans don't have the same sense of their leading party being held accountable than by fellow parties in a specific official manner, they are a lot more critical when things like this come out. Like if Watergate, for example, had happened in Canada, if the Prime Minister had been recording meetings in Parliament House, not where that kind of thing is happening, but that's the closest I can get. But if he had been recording private meetings, then it would be brought up in a question period. Like, why the hell were you doing that? But America doesn't have that same official accountability holding event. So they got him to resign. Well, no, he resigned, but it was like the hugest scandal because like there are a lot bigger scandals, I'd also say, in America. And also, America's just a lot bigger country. And that's another thing. Canada only has 30 million people within our borders.
Do you know the population demographics as compared to like the United States?
Oh, like America, I believe, is 300 million people, and like I think only like 40% of them are white, and then 13% are African, and I don't know the other ones. Whereas compared to Canada, the two largest ethnic groups are more like 70% white, and then I don't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure the second largest ethnic group is Asian. Because when we were making the basically, Canada loves importing Asians. Like, it's to this extent of how Americans import Mexican workers. We import Asian workers. Well, import it. We don't do it anymore. But back in the 1800s, when we were doing all this infrastructure, Canada would import tons and tons and tons and tons of Asians from China. so Chinese people specifically, I'm sorry, Chinese people to work on these dangerous projects because they didn't want white people to lose their lives.
Mhm.
Very racist, I know, but it was the 1800s, so I mean, whatever. It's not good, but a lot more common, especially because the country to their south, had slavery, so importing Chinese people to do dangerous jobs isn't nearly as severe because we were paying them, right? So, this is hilarious, as I am an American, and this Canadian is 98% on the dot on American history. Never thought I'd say that. Yeah, because you guys don't shut up about it.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was reading KTM's comment. He said, "This is hilarious, as I am an American and this Canadian is not." Because well, no, that was a joke. It's because it's like being English and not knowing anything about Scotland, right?
Gotcha.
You guys border us, and you're so much bigger than us
Mhm.
that it's inevitable that we'll know about what you do. And also, not to brag, but we have a higher IQ on average, mostly because our government doesn't spend billions upon billions of dollars on our military and instead focuses on our education system. So we do have more of more education on a wider range of topics. Like, for example, when I was in 8th grade,
Mhm.
they taught us about the history of the Aztecs and the Japanese.
They do that here. Like, I mean, most of the time, but still,
Okay.
it's kind of rare though.
And for example, like, we also learn about Native American history, despite them being one of the. I mean, of course, they were the Aboriginals. They were originally here, but they are a very small minority of the Canadian population, mostly because of, we make up a lot smaller territory, like actual livable territory. I mean, we are the second largest country in the world, but the amount of arable land we have in comparison is significantly smaller. So the amount of Native Americans we have is significantly smaller.
But do you think, I guess, the reason for such a drastic difference in the population would be in part due to the settling?
Could you elaborate?
Like, if if Europeans had never settled there, and native populations were allowed to expand like they would, do you not think there'd be
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I understand. Yes, obviously, but it is also heavily due to the fact because a lot of Native American tribes intersected between the two borders. And so, like, for example, the Iroquois. I can't remember. I think it was Haudenosaunee or something. I probably butchered that. Was there a native name? But the Iroquois, because the French discovered them when they.
Lenient against like natives, though. Gotta admit, French respected, like somewhat respected, their borders. Only wanted to trade like furs
Yeah,
with them.
yeah. I'm just gonna say this first and foremost. As bad as Canadians were, like with the natives, like, I'm not saying we were great. We didn't kill them. We didn't declare war on them.
The British were like kind of worse. I mean, kind of. But, like,
Well, no, because the Native Americans were instrumental in the War of 1812. Actually, funnily enough,
yeah.
the British and the French cooperated quite heavily. The thing is, they just cooperated with different tribes. Like, British had a lot closer relationships with certain tribes than they did with other tribes. The French influenced tribes like the Iroquois hated I say tribe, the Confederacy of Tribes hated the British because of their French influence. But the Blackfoot, that's a lot later. The Cree, I think, liked the British a lot more. So, to say the French, because like the French, you get the idea. It depends on which tribe you're talking about.
But that's kind of, I guess it's an interesting historical standpoint to take, to say that like it's like awful to declare a war on people, which it is. But I
Yeah.
think it's also just as bad to like play puppet with their like,
Oh, I know,
like to just
I
be
know.
like, I don't want to bring my guys in, so y'all kill each other and see, because those tribes were fighting like other tribes, so they were just killing each other down to extinction.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then white people moved in and were like, hey,
the Europeans did purposefully pick already tribes that were at odds with each other. Like, there were tribes that disliked the Iroquois Confederacy, and since the Iroquois were so good with happy with the French, the British were like, huh, well, that tribe hates the Iroquois. I'm gonna go bribe them. So it's I understand where you're coming from, and a big thing that happened with the British and the French, not specifically the French, but the British after they gained control of all of Canada, was the residential schools. I'm not sure if you were aware of them.
no.
So what happened was Britain tried to assimilate the Native Americans rather than kill them.
Mm.
And in order to do this, they built schools to teach them how to be white, pretty much. I believe what they told us in school was to quote unquote tame the Indian beast. And
So I don't know that it was. It's interesting to be like, well, the other country was worse when they both
yeah,
had the same
I'm not
mindset on it.
saying
You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
saying like they either were good, but what I am saying is, I think even still, if suddenly, well, I'm gonna get back to what I was originally saying. If suddenly the Native Americans, if Europeans never came to America,
Yes.
and Native Americans just by chance chose the borders,
Yes.
exact same borders,
Yes.
and not like had nothing to do with the tribes,
Yes.
then even still, the Canadian Native American population would be so much smaller because of how much arable land we have and all that, and it would probably still be nowhere close to the population we have as an ex-European colony, simply due to the fact that there aren't the same abundance of resources that allow you to industrialize, because that's why the Native Americans were in the Stone Age when the Europeans found them, because the resources of America
But
are to
that's not
allow for
accurate though. They weren't like in the Stone Age. You know what I mean? Though, like
no,
they
they
were
were.
like metal
No, no,
workers.
no,
They were like.
no, no. They were in the technical definition of the Stone Age, meaning they hadn't advanced technologically past stone tools.
But they had. Like they're
I
like
mean, most of them.
southern.
Wait, you gotta think. Like most of them didn't have like obsidian, like tipped, like air, like stuff like that, and like
No, I'm
Well, yeah,
talking about
they
like
kept
the Aztecs and the Incas and shit. They were like
they,
huge
he's,
organizations.
like,
well, no,
he's
no,
talking
no.
about like
I'm talking about no. Even the Aztecs, they were a Stone Age civilization.
No, they
They,
weren't,
they,
my
they
guy. They just weren't.
I'm
yeah, the Aztecs did like invent their own clocks and stuff. They had gold,
no, I'm not
like
saying. You're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying they were cavemen. I'm saying their technology didn't involve um like industrial like technology.
Agreed, but neither at that time did Europeans. They weren't industrial yet. They weren't. That was like the
Well,
early
they at the,
1900s.
they were they were industrial.
They
That
were
was the
like
very beginning
post
of the industrial revolution.
Renaissance.
They
hold up, hold
but
up. You know, like yeah, they had cotton mills, like that's technically like industrializing. So like they're industrializing food.
and they also this was if we're talking in the 18th century, the 1700s, they had industrial technology. Not obviously not coal mines, and obviously not well, like they had sorry, not obviously not like to the saying like they didn't have robots or
Or
anything.
forest and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but they did have industrial technology. They had guns. They had factories. They had like
Well, that's true. I guess I did misstate there, saying they weren't. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair to say.
and so, but due to America has a higher abundance of obsidian and different kinds of stone, and not as much like easily workable metals like bronze or copper. I mean, so that's why they never advanced past the Stone Age. That's why I'm not like obviously they had observatories. I'm not saying they were stupid. They had observatories. They had all of this stuff, but they couldn't make enough progress. Obviously, if they had a lot more time, like a lot more time, then they could have reached it. They could have found those materials, but they didn't have the. It wasn't to the same extent. You see.
But they were like agreed they weren't industrial,
Well,
but
no, I'm not saying they
they
weren't. I'm not saying like yeah.
but I
That's
wouldn't call it like Stone Age. Like a similar period. Uh, I don't know. Like they had
I'm just saying.
like metal
I'm just
jewelry
saying.
and things like that.
I'm just saying. This is a like actual scientific thing. The Native Americans were in the Stone Age because of the tools available to them were only stone tools. Uh, that
What was
was
that?
it was Zaria, that lady from last night. But they were in the Stone Age, and like they did have very minor metalworking, but it wasn't enough and to the same extent for them to be considered Bronze Age or Copper Age or whatever, because the the workings that they had were so limited and only for the very rich. You only get to the point when you advance to the Copper Age when the amount of people when the copper is widespread enough that you adopt it into everyday life. But the gold and the bronze and not the bronze and the copper was so rare that it was only for the very rich, and that's why they were in the Stone Age, not because they were stupid or unadvanced, but because of the low um, abundance of materials and minerals that could advance them to that age. But the point I was getting to is I don't even remember before I went on the tangent about Stone Age. Okay, I'm just gonna read the chat then. KTM 343 says, actually Canada is the second largest nation. I said that, and I'm assuming American politics, education system, sorry, isn't so flexible as yours due to politics and lack of teachers. Also, if you try to be the police officer of the world and see if you try to be the policeman of the world and not spend much on military. Okay, this was addressing my previous comments, referring back to that. So, what I mean, yeah, the American education system, yeah, he had it exactly right. It isn't as flexible because of the politics and the teachers, and I understand that. But the thing is, he had an exact point. America tries to be the policeman of the world, which I think is wrong. America needs to get their grubby fingers out of other nations' businesses. That's just my opinion. Because I don't think they belong in, like, for example, the Middle East. I think that America, taking up the mantle as the police officer of the world is a bit unwarranted. And I definitely think that it could improve their people's quality of life. Because they have a lot of poorer people. They have a lot of people below the poverty line. And I think if they quit trying to be the policeman of the world, it could benefit them significantly. And yeah. So I'm gonna read more from KTM. The French were willing to live side by side with the natives. Pardon?
Sorry, what's up?
Did you hear that?
What happened?
Okay, anyway, the French were willing to live side by side with the natives, while the British wanted more and more land and used the tribes as proxy. See, the French and the British used the tribes as proxies.
Right.
Both of them did. Because that's just what the Europeans did at the time. The only ones that didn't do that were the Spanish. They just killed all of them. And then the Americans followed in those
Thank
footsteps
you,
after.
Christopher Columbus, my guy.
Well, no, actually, that's a common misconception. It wasn't Christopher Columbus. He wasn't actually there when the genociding of natives started. He was back in Spain. His governor killed all those people and started the Spanish trend of just massacring natives. So, yeah. I guess he is, like, indirectly responsible, but despite what people want you to think, he wasn't the one who actively ordered their death. Natives had steel weaponry and poison arrows. The natives had steel weaponry, that is blatantly false. They did not. Unless they plundered it. This is a thing that happened actually a few times. There are accounts of natives finding and plundering Japanese ships and using those as weapons, and I think that's pretty cool. True story.
What?
So Japanese used to have a bunch of ships and would trade with China before they went isolationist. And a few of those ships got stranded on the American coast. And so it is a true fact that there were at least a few Native Americans who had katanas.
What the hell?
That's pretty.
You just hear just Tenno Heka Bonsai in the background. What?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The Aztecs this is from KTM stuff. The Aztecs mined raw materials on an industrial scale and preferred obsidian because it was easier to get than iron. That is exactly what I was saying. There wasn't enough.
Nodes, like resources, and like
Soft. There wasn't enough soft materials like copper. Hello.
Hello? Hello?
I
Hi. There wasn't enough soft materials like copper and gold for it to warrant for them to warrant mass smelting and whatever of that. So yes, they may have, they did have the mining, and they definitely could have, but there wasn't enough raw materials for them to bother. And that's the sad truth of why they didn't advance past the Stone Age. Not to a detriment of their culture and all that. Continuing. KTM says, just because they couldn't use what Europe used doesn't mean they were Stone Aged. Yes, it does. They were industrial to the point that mass-produced crops, weapons, and had full-on cities. Not all were nomadic. Like I said, Stone Age doesn't necessarily mean that they are cavemen. It just means that they were using primarily stone tools. KTM to Game 343 says, the tech has nothing to do with it. The Romans can be considered industrial.
mean, they did like kind of mass-produce armor and like stuff like that.
Well,
I mean,
yes, but that wasn't industrial. That was just widespread blacksmithing. When I say industrial, I mean making machinery to have one factory produce all of the armor and all of the weapons. Like in the 18th century in the British, how they had factories and machinery to help produce muskets. KTM343 says, we, I'm assuming America, needs our cheap oil and the world needs less terrorists. There wouldn't be terrorists, well, as widespread, if America hadn't, if America and the Soviet Union hadn't intervened in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And we have made so many enemies to the point where we can't leave. The Aztecs had gold. I like this Canadian. He is okay to debate. Yeah, so, KTM. The Aztecs, I know, I said, if you were paying attention, I said the Aztecs did have gold. I know this. I'm aware. But they didn't have enough of it to to establish them as a bronze, gold, or whatever material age civilization past stone, because it wasn't enough for the common man to have those tools. In the Bronze Age, for example, the Greeks, ancient Greeks, almost every man had bronze tools, because there was so much bronze in Greece that they could easily mine it and make anything out of it.
Well, bronze itself isn't a thing.
Copper. I misspoke. There was so much copper and what's the other thing that you make bronze? I fucking forgot.
Zinc, I think.
Zinc. There was so much copper and zinc in Greece that they could easily mine it. Tin? Okay, there's so much copper and tin.
Yeah, sorry. This don't mind me. I'm just thinking out.
How to make bronze. Tin and copper. Okay, so there was so much tin and copper in Greece that they could manufacture enough of it to make those tools and to make them on a wide scale. That's why they were a Bronze Age civilization. And sure, the Aztecs did have gold, but there wasn't enough of it, and it wasn't commonplace enough for them to be a Gold Age civilization. If you understand that, KTM. So there's a guy named Siren Head.
I saw that.
Wait. Oi Piluta.
Wait, what?
You cannot hide. He said you cannot hide.
No.
Ooh, how spooky.
Well, we can't hide, so let's
So
just
what-
stay out in public.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. And the Romans actually had factories, though how wide scale is still unknown due to the burnt artifacts and info when it collapsed. So it's likely they were tampering with it.
Also,
Yeah.
strategy tip. Oh, I'm sorry.
And one second, let me find this back.
Strategy tip. Don't tell your enemies your secrets. Don't be like, you can't hide. It's impossible to hide, so don't do it. Just to give you a heads up, by the way.
What I was gonna say about the Romans, yeah, and I mean obviously the Romans did tamper with a lot. Like they, if you guys don't know, the first fire department was invented in Rome, and the first skyscraper kind of like tall building was built in Rome, like apartment buildings. Like Rome was building all these things, but the problem is it wasn't widespread, and that's the whole thing. It needs to be widespread, and they weren't building those machinery, and they weren't building those factories for them to be considered an industrial age civilization. Because yes, they had factories, and yes, they may have had prototype skyscrapers, but it wasn't centralized and it wasn't widespread and commonplace enough for them to be industrial aged.
That's what I've been saying. That's exactly what I've been saying.
AP, if you want to take a look at this, like it's like in streams right now. This is like what I got so far.
Hey, nice. Wait, and where'd you put it?
So like I'm streaming it right now. I mean not streaming it, but like it's like live.
He's using the Discord share screen feature.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't see anything.
You don't
go
see
to
anything?
the Discord VC. He has a live next to his character.
Hey guys,
Hey, Suspirian.
Hey, what's going on, Suspirian?
I have a headache.
Uh-oh.
Have you been watching the stream up to this point?
A little bit.
Yeah, right now we've been talking about history and things like that.
So AP, you want me to play it? Are you looking at it?
Well, I didn't want to play it on stream if it's what you're working on.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Yeah. I thought you had like another computer you could like just like slide it off to, and then like yeah.
No, it's all good. Nobody, like, they wouldn't be able to see it, so.
Looks like Mr. Spooky Siren Head said, Liddy Utin Yar Yesti Smailman.
He said join the new order in the world.
How spooky.
Yeah, host.
KTM said, steam machinery was used to open and close temple doors and gates. Even the Byzantines had steam listed throne. Is that considered to be industrial, as it was widely used in experimental? Well, the thing is, the scientific community doesn't consider that to be industrial because the common man didn't have steam doors. It's all about what the common man has. If the common man has wide, theoretically has access to this, then yes, they would be industrial age. But if a common man does not have access to it, then no, it is unlikely that he is.
Excuse me one second,
that
guys.
society is industrial age. Okay, I just wanted to finish that.
Oh.
I'm just gonna get back to editing. You guys could continue talking. So Emperor AP adds more content, so I could yeah. Edit.
Yeah, KTM. It is really about the common man. It's
Oops.
because you, if you wanted to, could set up a steam-powered door if you had the moxie and you have the know-how, and you're a common man, I assume. But if only the rich and the powerful and the lord and the emperor has access to the sorry, has access to these technologies, then it is just the rich, and the rich don't really count. Like, we are in a modern industrial age society, but if the government was hiding space age technology, like UFO spaceships, and that we don't know about, we would still be in the same age as we are currently because of how it's classified and how
Good news, everyone! I'm back.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about things with KTM,
Nice.
and he understands how the age system works now, aging classification.
It's very solid. Very solid. We have all learned something today about
All because of the
civilization.
Canadian education system.
The other thing, Canada, bananas leaders, I'm joking.
Got him. Got him. But I am really interested in talking more about sort of the development of civilizations in general, because it does kind of lead to micronational stuff. Like, what do you feel like? Even though the individual person who like starts a nation may not be able to develop technologically in comparison to the rest of the world, I doubt they're making crazy grand inventions that are leaps and bounds above other people. But more specifically, what do you think a person can do to develop their own system, whatever that may be, and advance it as you would see other civilizations in history do?
Well, if you're, what's specifically kind of like? Are you talking about like building your own car or something like that?
No, just like if you have a system, if you start a country, um, what are the stages of advancement for that as opposed to just raw technological advancement like we think of going from different
Oh,
ages?
yeah,
Right.
I understand.
Like, what are the equivalents for this?
So I'd say the equivalent would probably be, well, obviously you'd be an industrial age civilization because you live in the industrial age. But if you're talking about like specifically your micronation, it really all just depends on how effective you are at building that, I'd say. Because if you can make, like example, the cold fusion powered aircraft carriers like Dan wants to,
Right.
then like you would be leaps and bounds, but ahead, like you said.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the what's the word I was thinking? Oh yeah, so but like the common micronationalist doesn't really have those available to him, so he would just, I suppose, be stuck at the place he is unless he really was able to make funding and
Nope.
get the
Sorry, there was an Enderman in my building, and I just went up and I closed the door and left. Sorry, continue.
but unless you got like the money and the know-how to make these advancements, you're most likely just relying on your macronation and how their technology is going and how they're advancing. but if you're talking more in a cultural sense, like how the Aztecs were technically Stone Age, but philosophically and like intellectually way more advanced than the other Stone Age civilizations.
A bit more advanced than like most like the Europeans. That's like they're,
I wouldn't
a
say
bit-
that because they had already done most of the things the Aztecs had done, forgotten it, then rediscovered it and did it again, like 3 times. And this isn't to the, like, I'm not saying the Aztecs were stupid. They were crazy smart, but I wouldn't make the claim that they were smarter. Maybe a bit more. I'm not sure because really their civilization was so short-lived that it's hard to say. Right. Let's see. KTM says something. Hey, listen here, Canadian. I do independent research outside of school due to the schools here repeating history again and again. I'm now going to do an exact recreation of every single American history class ever. Hello, class of America. My name is Teacher O'Reilly. I'm going to tell you about how in 1784, the President of the United States of America, George Washington, he went on down and he punched a Briton in the face, and then he made one whole America. Yeah! Every single American history class.
Well,
I'm gonna just keep eating my cereal.
Exactly right.
I'm gonna
wait,
just.
you want a rebuttal? So wait, you want a rebuttal? Like,
Totally.
well, number one, okay, so George Washington. I think I have like a book here. So hold on, give me.
And then Betsy Ross made the stars and stripes, and that's why we call the flags of America one of the Betsy Rosses.
One of the Betsy Rosses?
That's what I said. I am Mr. O'Reilly, every single American teacher.
And auto parts store owner. Haha.
But KTM brings up a good point here. The same history subject in middle school and high school. I don't know much about American history.
Alright, so yeah, I finally found the freaking book. Okay, so now I have to find the page. Okay, that's
But I'm gonna say what I was gonna say about the difference because I'm not sure about American school systems. Apparently, KTM's does the same thing every year. But I know in my we call it social studies classes, which is basically just glorified history class, except we also talk about modern politics too.
And sometimes recreations of the United States and its education system.
Of course. For as like they didn't really teach us a lot in elementary school, mostly just about, basic stuff. They taught us about Native American foods, I guess. That is something interesting. But I know in grade 6, we learned about the birthplace of democracy and the spread of it over time, and also the Iroquois. So that was what we learned about in grade 6. We also learned about Greek mythology. That was interesting. But then in grade 7, we learned about Canada's founding, how the French discovered Canada, and how the British kicked the French in the balls, and how they continued to kick them, and how then they laughed at them, and then they founded
then
America, and then they
came, and then
and then
Napoleon, and then kicked them back in the balls. But this time he took a blowtorch and like shoved it right up there, you know.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Napoleon, my guy.
Napoleon never beat the British, though.
I know. It's just like you kicked them for a bit, then they kicked back.
Then they stomped on his face repeatedly.
Napoleon never beat the British.
And
He only lightly danced with the British sometimes, on occasion, in the moonlight.
He tried to trip them, and then the British punched him in the face. Whoa,
for like a military commander, Napoleon was pretty good.
1 second here. Mr. KTM, listen up here. Hey, leaf flag. At least we have style and aren't a British puppet.
Got him.
Don't even. Okay, I'm not gonna make.
Got them.
Where am I gonna start with this? Leaf flag. I hate the
Sweet.
current Canadian flag.
Oh yes, you gotta leap for a flag.
I agree with that statement. The double bar fucking maple leaf. It has no symbolism. This is why I want to call it the return of the red ensign. At least we have style. No, you don't. What are you talking about? America has no style. It has a fucking identity crisis.
But you know what
We
its
are
style
without
is?
style.
You know what its style is?
What?
The melting pot. They take every other culture, and then they say it's theirs. That's the whole thing.
That's. I don't know.
That's the whole thing. Together.
Canada, we have our own style and our own special culture.
Britain.
Yeah, well, we have. We have our British influence, which is a proud hallmark of our culture.
Right.
We also have the French influence of Quebec.
Right.
And the
Is it
Native
not
American-
just as proud?
Well, yes, it is. Well, it is, but only in one province, Quebec. But the British, like the American White House and the American Capitol building and all that, is a great example of American identity crisis.
Of cash money.
Because because you guys just like American culture is really strange, and it's like.
But there's not one thing of it though. Is the thing.
There is it's.
But that's the whole cool thing about it, is there's not one thing. It's like a whole bunch of different things. You can't be like America is, because it's just a whole bunch of different things. But you could say Canada is, and it'd be like, yeah.
Because you're.
Yeah, the French are known for surrender.
KTM, 3 for 3. We are literally Romans. No, you're not.
America was founded by Roman. You didn't know?
Well, it really depends on what you.
What universe?
You copy their building style. You copy their building style and the names from their.
That's primarily in Las Vegas.
No, I'm talking about your government buildings. Your government buildings are all faux Roman. You got the pillars and stuff in the white and marble.
And
your
Las
government, sure, but that's not your culture. That's just how you build your buildings, and that's it. If you had Roman culture, it would be your country would be completely different from what it is.
Well,
And
but
satellite was
then you could just make the same arguments about Canadian stuff. You could
Bro, I
just be
saw
like,
his face. What
you,
the?
you could just be like British people, being a
Bro,
British
I saw
colony
that face of
is
yours, my
not
guy.
your thing. It's just being an extension of another thing.
no. What I'm saying is what he said is he said we are literally the Romans when it comes to taking culture. Oh, okay, I misunderstood that. I thought when he said, I apologize for that. I misread that. I thought he said when it comes to culture and ideas. I didn't see the taking. Yeah, you guys steal like the Romans, but I never finished my anecdote about Canadian culture. Canadian culture, we have a defined culture. We are proud well, not all of us, but the majority of us are proud ex-British. We we build in the same fashion. We speak in the same, not in the same fashion, but we write in the same fashion almost. Our government is based upon them. We have a lot of their food. We have a lot of French food actually too. Um, it's just, I'd say Canada is like if a British person was locked in a room with an American for years ago. It's like if a British person was locked in a room with an American for 243 years, and that would be the Canadian culture.
Interesting. Fair enough. Excuse me. But yeah, so what do you feel like is then gleaned from your own history and your macronation that you're a part of when developing your micronation?
Well, I definitely am in fear because I see like something is. I kind of want to. I've seen on the internet. Well, not, but I've seen on with like friends in real life comparing like my current, like the way I see people and like young people compared to older people. I do see we are being significantly more Americanized. An example of this is Z. We in Canada say Z, right?
But we getting y'all with the Z. Everybody is gonna change
I
the
see
world
that. I
saying
see
Z.
that.
Good. It's a Z.
I've seen my friends call it Z so many times. And it's just my friend spelled colorized like this. I almost puked.
Wait, without a U?
No, this is how you spell colorized in Canada.
Wait, I don't see anything. Wait, hold on.
In
Let me get
general,
to. Okay.
He spelt it with a Z and without a U. In Canada, we spell it Cololourised.
Wait, yeah. So spelled it in the American way.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's like, I don't know, man.
It's cash money is what.
It's sad.
Yeah, but at the same time, think about this. Your culture is being assimilated, right? Like
Mhm.
Native American.
I don't want to be
It's a
American.
full cycle. No, I'm saying
I don't
like
want-
Native Americans, like
Oh,
Canadians did to
yeah.
Native Americans. Yeah, all nations die. It's a cycle.
But okay, KTM said another thing. Ex-British, plus you're an extension because they made you a Commonwealth and your government follows the Brits around, etc. Thing is about that though, we voluntarily do that because we are proud of our heritage. The British didn't make us join the Commonwealth. We joined of our own merit, and we stayed of our own merit. Because we love and respect our heritage and our culture. Though I am seeing this, you know, go away to an extent, and I think that's sad because the weak will be ruled by the people with 300 million, 300 million of them, and it's not that you're stronger. It's that there's 300 million of you, and you're all on the internet being loud, as just like how you're normally loud. It's it has nothing to do with strength. It has to do with numbers.
Yeah,
Like there
but
are.
but isn't that like the way that influence in anything goes? Just like the
I know, I
majority
know,
is the.
I know, but he was saying the weak will be ruled by the strong, and I think just like how every single country on Earth, except for America, uses the metric system. Yet I still think somewhat in miles. There are just so many of you, and you control so much of the media that it's hard not to.
Right.
So
And I've seen this. No, I don't. This American trying to school me on Canadian history is saddening.
Got it.
No, we joined the British Commonwealth because we joined the British Commonwealth when it was founded because the British Empire was on the decline, and because we love our heritage and we love our original our queen, we joined the replacement, aka the British Commonwealth. We joined it to help the homeland. And at that point, a lot of Canadians still had a British accent because we were ethnically British. We were ruled by the British for a very long time. We had the British culture. The Canadians joined the British Commonwealth because that was our people. That was our. It's like because we joined World War. We didn't have to join World War II. We didn't have to join World War One. I don't believe. Maybe I can't remember.
Well,
We didn't have to join World War II. I know that for a fact. But we did because we were defending our homeland, and we loved our country, and we loved our queen and our monarch.
well, I think defending your homeland, or unless it's on the opposite, a campaign against. But in most cases, that was the reason that countries joined World War II.
Exactly. Like it's hard to explain because it's because Americans are not to insult you, but Americans you can't get it because your culture is founded upon defying the homeland. And so you don't have that same I don't know sense of cultural pride. And
But I guess that's an interesting thing though, because it's a choice. Like,
Yeah.
but as populations become more and more diverse, that any one idea becomes further and further faded into the background. So I just think it's inevitable over time that things like tradition fade away. You know, I'm Cajun French, but I don't know how to speak Cajun French.
Hey, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to call you. Can you join this call?
Yeah,
real quick?
no, I saw. Will deleted everything I saw.
No, it's not about that. I got something I want to address.
Okay.
It'll only take like 2 minutes.
Join back, I guess.
Okay.
I'll see you guys in a bit.
See you, man.
1 sec.
Ooh. Ooh. Well, we have 8 viewers. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. Also, I never changed my thing, so I'm going to go in and change that real quick. But yeah, I'm trying to edit this thing right now. I think tonight's been a pretty good discussion so far. I don't know what you guys have been thinking about it, but just talking about different cultures and specifically about Canada, learning a lot about Canada has been cool. KTM said the week we ruled by the strong. Siren had said, bruh, it's just me or do I hear a maple leaf flying in the wind? KTM said, British made you a commonwealth because they didn't want you to leave and lose valuable asset. Agreed. Siren said KTM said the metric system almost made it to the States, but the ship was blown off course and sacked by pirates, if I'm correct. Fair enough. Duke Andrew said, good afternoon, Your Majesty. How are you today? I'm pretty good. How are you? We have 9 viewers. Thank you very much, Duke Andrew Carter, for joining us. It is good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well, and I am sorry that you haven't joined the stream earlier. I don't know at what point you joined, but we were having quite an intense conversation about Britain and about Canada and about colonies and all sorts of stuff and about culture, so that was super cool. And it's been cool hearing about all of that and learning about all of it, especially because it does just relate quite a bit to micronationalism and to, you know, thinking about how these other nations have formed and developed over time, and if we are becoming nations ourselves, what that looks like for us, how we carve our own path into the future as they did. And see the benefits and the good things that we should strive toward and the things that maybe we should strive against in making something new. And I'm trying to survive in Minecraft, which has been harder than I thought it would be, to tell you the truth. I've been playing this for a few weeks now, and I feel like I'm almost no better than when I started. But I'm learning little bit by little bit, and really when here with you guys, it's just hanging out and sort of just enjoying the scenery and stuff running around. So I definitely have been having fun with it. Oh, okay. Now we got a fight going. Now it's all over for this guy, obviously. He just is going to lose, and there will be nothing anyone can do about it. Yep, he thought he could stop me, but he just couldn't. So now I'm going to grab up all of that. Up, and I'm getting shot at. Up, instantly getting shot at. Yep, cool. Okay. Yeet. Uh-oh. Zed said it's not. It's too notable an image. You need a higher quality one. Hilarious. Hold on. Let me get back to Minecraft. There we go. But yeah, this has definitely been a cool stream so far. I hope everything is okay. Collecting up all different kinds of flowers, gonna make some dyes, gonna make, you know, some intense potions, of course. Yeah. But I don't know. Talking about the Empire specifically, one of the things that I'm hoping to do pretty soon, which I am excited to make an announcement about, is I am wanting to get a P.O. box so that in case anybody wants to send stuff from their micronation, they'll be able to. I'll create a P.O. box and you guys can send things there if you want. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. That'll be my big plan so that we can have more stuff to show off on the channel and you know, can really get a larger interaction from you guys, not only day to day, but in general we can trade more things, we can have access to more of each other's culture, and I think that'll be really cool. Hey, Cats and Land said, hey, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good, Cats and Land. How are you? Hope you're doing well. KTM said, Siren Head said, hail the New World Order. KTM said, AP, want to look at a list of unclaimed islands? I'll send you a link if you want. Sure, absolutely. Here's a small list. Yes, please. I don't think you can post a link like that, at least in this stream, the way that it's working. But if you send it on Discord, I will click on it and get back to you with it. But that's cool. A small list of unclaimed islands. I know that's one of the things that I've been looking toward in general is our development onto a plot of land. The biggest thing that is important in that decision, obviously, is its location. One, for price purposes, but also because of my own future and where I would be potentially settling down for my life, or at least the main place. And over the next few years, I think we'll be starting to decide that more fully when I get into my master's and PhD programs, and am able to figure out, you know, where my position that I'll be working in more will be from. And by that point, you know, I'll be able to, oh, hey, what's going on, man?
So, you know how I mentioned Will with his temper tantrum, right?
What's going on?
Oh, sorry. So I mentioned how me and Will had an argument, right?
Yes.
So Vincent just pulled me into that call, and then he invited Will, and I started playing my case, and then Will just started being an asshole for no reason. So I'm just sick and tired of this.
I get you. I'm sorry that you two were going through that.
I just wanted to make a goddamn Minecraft server. I'm pretty sure he deleted like half the things I was building. Fuck my life.
Well, the good news about that, though, is that if it's something that's a big enough, I guess, tear between you two or disagreement between you two, I'm sure one of you will eventually end up not being part of it anymore. but hopefully you can
He already
come
left.
together on something else.
He like verbally harassed me because I didn't want to go to war with him.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry.
That's fuck my life. God damn it. I started trying to say my case, and you know what happened? He ear raped me over Discord chat.
Just yelling?
Yeah, directly into his microphone.
Mm.
So I called him a cunt and I left. Because I already dealt with his bullshit. He decided to have a hissy fit. And he left. And now he's trying to whine to me. But to let him back. This kid has a fucking complex.
Hey, bro.
Sorry.
It's all good. You never know the reasons people do things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if now that problem is resolved by you removing him from the server,
I already did that previously, but somehow, I don't know.
now you should be able to continue on with whatever it is you were hoping to do with it, right?
Yeah, but Will keeps trying to, not Will, Vincent keeps trying to do whatever. I don't know what he wants.
To like make you guys work it out.
Yeah.
Well, I would understand it if he considers you guys two friends.
I mean, even since like the very start, he was like insulting to me. Like one of the first conversations I had with him, back when he was Director Vox, he directly insulted my home province and called me a bootlicker for respecting my heritage. Like, I forgived him for that, and I also forgived him for spamming my DMs when I suggested another thing, and I also forgived him for all the other things he did. And it's just, I'm tired.
And I can understand that. I've definitely been in situations like that before with friends. I think it's definitely important to take yourself out of a situation if you feel like it's not a good one, and I think you did that well.
Yeah, I tried that the first time when I was trying to do my homework, and yet he atted me on Discord calling me a pussy for not engaging with him.
Yeah, but it's good that you don't, because then, you know, as soon as you feed into it, then it continues more. So I think it's good that you're just not engaging with it if you don't engage with it, because that it just gives it less attention, gives it less reaction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. But it's good to stand up, I suppose, for what you feel like is the right thing, even if the person on the other end isn't doing the same thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But that's life, though, huh? And then new stuff happens.
You know, to get off that topic, this is something interesting I learned the other day. Did you know that Frank Sinatra was an honorary Jew?
Honorary?
He wasn't actually Jewish, but he did so much for the Jewish in America that they gave him his own skull cap, and with his own name embroidered in it, and made him an honorary Jew.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got to that topic because you said "That's Life," which is a Frank Sinatra song.
Nice. Do you enjoy Frank Sinatra, or did you just know?
Yeah. Well, I listen to a few of his songs. I like That's Life. I like Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah,
Things like that.
pretty solid. Do you like big band stuff in general, or just him?
Yeah, I listen to a few. You ever listen to the Platters?
Platters. I don't believe so.
It's not exactly like Frank Sinatra, but it's from slightly before, I think. Queen did a cover of one of their songs called "The Great Pretender."
Hmm.
It was a Platters song, and Freddie Mercury did a cover of it.
That's awesome. So, do you think it was an inspiration? Well, I imagine, I guess, if they covered it. I was gonna be like, do you think it was an inspiration to him? And I was like, I bet it was. I just bet it was.
Yeah, it was it's a really good song. It's like well, no, I'm not gonna sing it, but it's very soothing. I like the Platters in general. They have a lot of good songs, like Key West Zibberlandic Empire just called you a great gamer.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying, even though I'm dying every like 5 seconds. I felt so put to shame. I watched PewDiePie's one of his videos on Minecraft the other day, and he was at level like 40 something, and I was like, oh no, oh no, this man never died once. He's truly the elite gamer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we're talking about PewDiePie, I'm kind of sad. I really lost interest in his content. Like when he stopped gaming. Like I understand, a guy has to move on at some point.
Yeah.
But you know, because like it's another thing about YouTube. He sorry. What was I saying? I got distracted.
No, you good. Talking about PewDiePie, him stopping gaming. That's what
Right,
YouTube is
right, right.
about.
YouTube, I don't like the commercialization of it,
Mhm.
because everybody starts out, they're doing it for fun, and then they get forced to turn into like a shill. And like it's so sad. You ever watch the Yogscast?
I don't think so. No.
They were a Minecraft YouTuber back in the day, like 2011, 2012, 2013.
Mhm.
And they were really good, and they were like having the time of their lives. But one of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers on the market. When Minecraft died, they still trucked on, but if you watch their content nowadays, it's so sad, because the main two guys, Lewis and Simon lost. He's just so old, and he's lost a few of his teeth. He's bald. Lewis is graying and old, and he's become a producer and like a shill to the producers and all that, and to the algorithm, and it's just so sad, because like these guys that went from having fun, just making Minecraft YouTubers in their house because they were roommates, and now they're this like cog in a machine, and they're like withering away.
But I don't think that's how they would view it. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
I would imagine they see it in a good light, as I think we should. That, if you have the opportunity to do something that you were just doing for fun and didn't think you could make money at, and
Well,
you're
no,
able
no.
to spend like your whole
They were
life
making
doing
money, but like they now they're like sorry if I misspoke. They were doing it for fun, and then they started making money off of it and doing it for fun. But now they've become a slave to the YouTube algorithm and to their producers.
And do you feel that they feel that way?
I can't say for sure, but they definitely have that feigned enthusiasm that those chill slave YouTubers have, because they're real. They don't. It's not as genuine anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's not. I don't know if it's me, but it definitely feels like they're only doing it for money now, and they're not even like fully aware of what's happening because they have all the editors and everything doing it for them.
Well, sure, but at the same time, that's part of their progress. That's part of what they see for themselves. So, if that's what they ultimately wanted, then shouldn't you be excited that their goal is coming to fruition, even if it's not the way that you would do it?
I guess. But like, there are a lot of YouTubers like that who the content they were making stopped doing so well, and then they just became enslaved. And I know PewDiePie. The thing is about him, he I believe he's still enjoying it what he's doing, but he definitely, I don't know, he's become a lot more commercialized. It is of my personal opinion that I just like, I don't know, it makes me sad every time I see a YouTuber commercialize and turn into just, I don't know.
Well, but that's what I think is interesting. Like, that same statement has been said about artists and musicians and people of all fames for a long time. You know, people feeling like, well, once you get to a certain level, you change and you do things differently. But
Mhm.
I don't think you should see that as them selling out or giving up. It
Well,
is a
yeah.
part of their process developing. They want that so that they can continue to spread their message, even if it does have to be with contribution from other people now. It's helping to spread their message to a more general audience, which I think is ultimately what they want.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just like, I see a lot of YouTubers who don't necessarily enjoy it, and I see, like, because, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm viewing it through the lens of nostalgia, but it really is, it's a word though. I don't know, I can't think of the word right now, but I'm tired, kinda, I don't know, man.
I get you.
It's just seeing somebody you remember so youthful, and then seeing that they're bald, missing three teeth, and don't have the same look, like, and sound and
Do you
feel like a
think
completely different person.
do you
It's
think
just sad.
that's less about the idea of selling out and more about the
I mean,
realization of like aging in general and like how
yeah,
quickly time passes?
that comment that was about aging in general, but I do have some opinions on selling out. Like, a lot of, at least from what I see, a lot of YouTubers, like, they, I don't know, man. It's
It's just, I think things look very different from the bottom or the top of the thing that you're from. If you were a viewer who started when something was very small, um, it would seem very distant from you once it grows larger and gets older. But from the top, that would seem like where they want to be. They're moving with it. They're progressing, and it's okay to fall out of interest with this particular type of content, or to feel disheartened by someone that you used to find joy in. But I think it's really cool just to have the thought that maybe for them that's like all they ever hoped for their life, and maybe that's like every day them waking up and living their dream. So if that's the case, and they have to look like a sellout and say buy G Fuel or whatever the fuck the thing is, all right, that's cool that they get to live that life that maybe before they would have never had the opportunity to.
Mhm.
And also, some people are assholes. Some people are assholes.
Well, I'm not insinuating that they're assholes. I'm insinuating that at some point they like lost control, and that they became the avatar for their producers and for their editors and for their like higher ups, like, because, well, maybe I think Lewis is really the one in control of everything. And I know back in the day there was an argument between them about who had control of the channel, but eventually Lewis won, and I think it's Lewis's dream. But I think about, you know what, Yogscast is a bad example. A good example is Smosh.
Mhm.
You know Smosh?
Yes.
Smosh got so industrialized that both of their founding members left because it wasn't the same anymore.
Isn't Ian still doing it or something, or
No,
wasn't he for a
Ian
while?
Hecox left
Um,
because it got even too commercial for him.
oh wow.
They both quit because like they didn't. It wasn't their dream. Yeah, I think they're still friends to some extent, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's sad.
and that's definitely rough. I think the thing that is sad about that is, yeah, they lost out on that, but the good news is they are people who have been able to uh, amass uh, an interest around their personalities and their friendship. So I think the the thing that they sold away, which maybe they regret, maybe they don't, uh, is is a name. It's a title. It's something that did draw a lot of people. But as soon as they uncheck their support from it and they go on to different projects, they're now able to pursue whatever it is that their life has for them, hopefully with some money in their pocket, and they will then start to find that old crowd again, maybe a little bit older, maybe a new crowd that gets what they're trying to do now.
Yeah. I think it's funny. Watching modern Smosh videos is really weird because, it doesn't have any of the guys in it. Like, it doesn't have Smosh in it. It's just a bunch of producers with actors using the Smosh name.
Right.
Like, I remember when Smosh was two guys and all their friends competing for #1 spot on YouTube with PewDiePie. And by the way, I was hashtag Team Smosh all the way. Like, I guess that's where my dislike for PewDiePie started, with hashtag Team Smosh.
Mhm.
But I don't really enjoy his content.
Thank you.
PewDiePie.
Yeah.
His is just weird. I mean, his content, much less his fans. I had to not interested in his YouTube so many times at YouTube. Like, not interested, to click on it like a jillion times because of how much he's like, hey, you should watch PewDiePie. Hey, PewDiePie this, PewDiePie that. I'm like, no. I subscribe to PewDiePie to help end the corporatism of YouTube. because of T-Series. But I don't actually care about any of the crap he makes.
Well,
Yeah.
now you've got both.
Yeah, YouTube's still corporatized, and YouTube still wants me to watch his stupid videos.
Yeah,
But I think I finally convinced YouTube to stop showing me his content.
that's good. That's step one.
Yeah, I remember when PewDiePie used to make videos with Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. I don't even think they talk anymore.
Wow.
I remember when Jacksepticeye was good.
Yeah, I remember when they used to do knife fights in the back alley. Those were before the YouTube days. It was intense.
But you know what? Speaking of Swedish YouTubers, there's a surprising amount of them.
Nice.
Have you noticed that?
I haven't.
Like, off the top of my head, I can count Koifish, Killing Experience, PewDiePie, Robaz, like, I don't know, man. There's like way more. And that's just like, I don't know, there's a weirdly large number of like Swedish YouTubers. It's like strange.
It's like Sweden is YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the conspiracy.
I don't know, maybe it has something to do with their accent.
Interesting.
You know? Like
Or maybe they're all self-absorbed.
oh, KTM's going to bed.
Have a good night, KTM. KTM, welcome back to the Good Night podcast. Have a good night. But yeah, I actually think I'm going to go to bed as well. We have been streaming for a little bit. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Please keep me updated with all your nation stuff. Definitely check out the Discord. And Connor, it was good talking to you tonight.